Hello everybody. I figured I'd show you what actual welding looks like on the Homestead. Um, I went and took a 7-week welding class at the local community college that I work at. And it was very useful, very useful. And I've used this now for, going on getting close to a year, I guess. It'll be a year in May when everything's done, but half a year, a little over half a year for sure. And I'm by no stretch of the imagination a wonderful, professional, super great welder. But I took their stick welding class and bought myself a little stick welder and started doing little things around the farm here to get things going the way I needed them to. And so I've got a flatbed truck that my little tractor will fit on, but no way to get that little tractor on there. Welding project, right? I need to build myself a set of ramps. And so that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And instead of putting a welding outlet at my house, where I really didn't have space to do it, brought it over here to the goat side where I use their stuff. So I put in a welding outlet. And it was an outlet that goes straight to the welder that I purchased. And really, I mean, I went a little over the top. I went with Hobart. Could have went with one of those Harbor Freight welders just fine, probably. But I went ahead and got that stick welder, and then I went and bought a Harbor Freight MIG. And but anyway, I'm just kind of working on perfecting my stick welding and all that. But right here it is. And so it's a almost 9 foot long. And right now I'm just I don't know if you can see that. I'm just cutting the edges. I went ahead and painted them because they sat in my building over the winter, and now I've got a little bit of time. It's end of February now, but it's nice out, and so I said, well, I'm going to try to finish up that welding project while I'm out today. I'm going to go out and mess with my goats a little bit, finish up that welding project, which I had all this welded together. I just didn't have my connection, because I kept researching how I wanted to connect it to my truck. And at first I wanted to make like a hook to hook it in and all this sort of stuff. And I just decided to go ahead with a flat connection. And what I did to make those was I took a piece of channel and cut one piece of that channel off. Okay. And really, I just had the leftover channel from where I purchased a 20-foot section of channel. Well, 2 of them, one for each ramp. Cut them in half. Well, cut them down to 9 foot after cutting them in half. So I had 4 of these little pieces of channel. So I have 2 left over and 2 for the edges. But that's what I did. It's not great. It's not perfect. But it works. And so, there's a lot better systems out there. But I needed something strong enough to get my tractor up a 9-foot span onto a 40-inch tall flatbed. And so you have to look up the steel charts to see what size channel and all that you need to make that happen. If you're going to use channel for the sides of I use channel for the sides of my ramps, and I use the angle inside the ramps. And I'm really glad I did that. I've seen people do angle all around, and angle's not strong enough. You need some channel, in my opinion, especially for that long of a span, because the longer the span, the more beefy of a project you need. But then you've got to contend with the weight. So you really have to strike a balance, right? And so these 9-foot ramps with angle in the middle, I think they're spaced every 9 inches, and it's 3-inch channel, is marginally strong enough to get my small tractor on the back of that truck safely without bending it up. But it's so heavy, and I'll be the first to, I'm not weak. I'm not weak at all, but I feel like a little kid carrying these things, buddy. they're heavy. And so if I would have went with a 4-inch channel, probably not. So anyway, just something to think about. Get yourself a steel chart. And everybody says, you know, you need an engineer to do it. Well, fine, get an engineer if you don't feel competent at doing such a thing. But it's really just looking at the chart and seeing the length and the strength, what weight it'll hold at what length. That's really all there is to it. What type of steel, based on what type of steel it is. I mean, it'll tell you the weights and all that as well. So there's charts out there. You don't need an engineer. And you got to think, you got to divide it in half, because, you know, you're only carrying half the weight of your tractor on one, right? So, you know, and then each side, also, if you have 2 steel channels, you got to divide it in half again. So really, the weight rating on these ramps is pretty good when when you look at it and you divide it into fourths, because it's just looking at one piece of channel, right? And so you have 4, because you have 2 in each ramp, 2 ramps. That's how big of a piece of equipment it can get up into your bed. Now, I've got the flatbed truck. I don't have a trailer. I don't have a trailer to haul it on, anything like that. So I just have to be able to get my stuff up on the truck. I wanted to be able to get my 4-wheeler up there. Wanted to be able to get my tractor up there. My bigger tractor, it's not going to fit on it, but, you know, I would rather pay somebody to haul it to the other site. For those of you just joining me here in this video, I've got a 40-acre tract a couple miles down the road, aeronautically half a mile. And then I've got a 12-acre tract here at the house. And here at the house is where the main operation is. But my hay's all at the other place if I want to make hay, because all this is steep, north-facing slope. Fine for goats, fine for, you know, growing trees and putting animals around. But as far as growing hay, it's not optimal. Now over there, I've got a really nice hay field. So I'm probably going to put my big stuff over there, my big equipment, my haymaking stuff. And I want to be able to take my small tractor, which the big tractor is an old one. That's all somebody could afford, you know. That's just doing this stuff is basically a hobby. But my big one's going to go over there, big David Brown, stay over there, hopefully. And then my small tractor I'll haul back and forth with these ramps. So you have to be creative. And when you get started homesteading, if you find you need more land, or it works out that you get more land, it's really, really hard to just pick up and move to that. That's vacant land over there. I'd have to build a house or put in a septic well, do all that just to put a trailer or something over there, even if I didn't build anything extravagant. But I've got a really nice house over here. So driving a couple miles down the road is worth it to have a place for my hay, and where I can get more wood and use the natural resources over there. And it's a much nicer piece of land than what I have over here. But you tend to come on the nicer pieces of land later on in life when you can afford them. And so here we are. But anyway, I figured I'd touch base with you and let you see what we're doing, what real welding looks like on the homestead. And it looks like being in the middle of a goat pasture with a truck, a welder, and my stuff, and having to close the gate and corral all the goats out of here to get to where I could get my welder in here. It's a big project just to weld these 2 little ends on. But you do what you got to do, and that's the name of the game in this business. So y'all have a great one. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. You know, I'm not really in this to get all these followers, but I'd like to share information with folks, and I like to see people get happy about homesteading and get into it. And I just want to help out. And so if you know somebody who likes these videos, share it with them. If not, don't share it with them, you know, whatever. I get to look back at some of the projects I've done and look at my thought processes. And so that's what YouTube's all about, sharing information and cataloging what you're doing with your life and being able to look back on it. But anyway, y'all have a great one.